Hello, my name is Aisyah Wardani, and this is my final project for the data mining and visualization course. And I'll walk you through my analysis of a bank marketing dataset, starting from cleaning the data, exploring patterns, and ending it with a key insight and recommendations. Thank you. First, I explored the dataset to check for the data quality issues. I didn't find any missing values written as NA, no duplicate rows, but several columns such as job, education, and default contain a value unknown, which I treated as missing information. This variable contains a specific value of 999, which doesn't represent an actual number of days. This value indicates the client was never contacted before. It is treated as a noise. As we can see here, most call durations are below 1000 seconds, but there are many points far to the right. These are outliers, represent unusually long call durations, going above 400 seconds in some cases. In data cleaning process, duplicated rows were removed using the duplicated function to avoid redundancy in the data. Then all the values labeled as unknown in categorical variables were replaced with NA, so they could be treated as missing values. The value 999 in the paid days column, which indicates that a client was never contacted, was also recorded to NA to prevent misunderstanding during analysis. After applying these changes, the clean version of the dataset was saved into a new project called clean_data. And then in summary statistics, I grouped the data by the job and calculated the mean and median age for every job type. This helps us understand the age distribution within job group. It is also included a count of how many clients are in job group and sorted the result by the largest group first. And then I did the same for education level, grouping by education, calculated the average and median age for every category. It shows us which education levels are associated with younger or older clients on average. And then next, I grouped the data by education again, but this time to analyze call duration. Calculated the mean and median call duration per education level to see if there's any difference in how long the conversation lasts, depending on the client's education. Lastly, I analyzed how many times clients were contacted during the campaign, grouped by their marital status, calculated mean and median number of contacts for every group, which could help us understand if certain groups are being contacted more frequently. First, I check for missing values in the numeric columns like age, duration, days, and previous to know how many rows were not missing in each column. And then I use the Shapiro test with a sample of 5,000 rows to check for normality, and turned out all variables had p-values below 0.05, meaning they are not normally distributed. And because of that, Spearman's rank correlation was selected as a more appropriate method. Most of the correlations are very weak. For example, durations and p-days have a small positive correlation around 0.12, while age is slightly negatively correlated with duration. This means the variables are not strongly related, but some small trends can be observed. And for between categorical variables, I use a cross tab to compare education with the campaign result. This table shows the number of yes and no responses by education levels. It used to see which groups are more likely to accept the offer. And for numerical and categorical, I use linear regression to see if call duration varies by education level. The p-value is 0.23, which means education is not a significant predictor of a duration, so there's no strong evidence that education affects how long the call lasts. And for the feature engineering, I created a new variable called age group by dividing age into 3 categories: under 30, 30 to 50, and over 50. Most clients are between 30 to 50 years old. It helps simplify the analysis and see trends by age range. And next, I created a new variable called recency label based on P days. If P days is missing, I labeled it as never. And if they were contacted within 5 days, it is recent, otherwise it's old. Most clients were never contacted before. And next, I created a new feature called Total Contact Score. By adding the number of contacts during this campaign and previous ones, the most clients were contacted only once or twice in total. And next, here I created a bar chart that shows how many clients are said yes or no to the offer. For example, 255 admin clients subscribe, and the most clients come from admin and blue-collar jobs. And next is a box plot that compares a call duration by job and result. In general, people who said yes had a longer calls. For example, this blue-collar client had a call lasting over 400 seconds and said yes. Next is the chart that shows how many clients from each education level said yes or no. For example, 2069 university graduates said no, while the 310 said yes. It is the highest total number of yes responses, even though most still refuse. Other levels like basic 6 years old only had 39 people who said yes. Okay, so next is the first one. Here is basically the same as what I showed before. Among university graduates, 2069 said no and 310 said yes. That is the highest number of yes responses across all education levels, even though most still decline. And the second chart compares call duration by job and subscription outcome. We can see that longer calls are more common among those who subscribe. For example, one technician had a 4,918 second call but didn't subscribe, while an unpaid client had a 1,166 second call and still said no. Overall, successful subscriptions tend to come from longer calls, but this doesn't mean long calls directly cause success. It may just show that more interested clients are willing to stay on the call. Interestingly, unemployed and retired clients, even though they are smaller groups, show relatively high conversion rates. Lastly, my recommendation is first, focus on longer conversations. They are strongly associated with better results. And the second one is target smaller groups like unemployed and retired clients, since they show promising outcomes despite their size. Thank you.